ready to start? Okay, so thank you so much and welcome you all. And actually, this is my third visit. I visited twice in the past, like before, I think in April and May. Anyway, thank you so much for, I think she, Targila, traveling. Thank you. He asked me to do Fide's teaching on the Sunday and September. And yeah, I thought, okay, well, I can try what I can do. And thank you for having me here. And so the topic we hear for the September and October, I guess, right? It's the theme where you say inner peace for everyday challenges. And then Gloria was saying you could pick some text or whatever topics pick up and talk about that. How do you really challenge every day? How do you really tackle with every challenge, right? And I was thinking about what would be best thing, whether the 8 versus mind training, the 7 training of the mind, or then what. And then, oh, please. Yes, we have to wait a little bit. People are coming, right? Yeah. So while we're waiting, maybe just, if you're all like more like a regular, coming to the teaching, or maybe some days come, some days may come, right? It's similar for different people. Different people, different show up, right? So it doesn't matter. You just try to maybe just sit and try to find some kind of peace of mind, just sitting and thinking about some kind of positive, good thought that help you to maintain yourself like a calm and peace. And especially what kind of method, what kind of tool you use to, calm your mind when you feel like maybe like stress or little challenges are coming. Could be in the family, could be in the work, could be in, wherever, sometimes you face challenge. But the challenge sometimes is a really good lesson. But of course, you don't have to create the challenges intentionally, but it's just when the causes and conditions are there and then challenges come, right? And then we have to make sure that we face very mindfully, very skillfully, and with broad understanding of the situation. For example, if you are having some difficulties, some kind of relationship difficulties between your parents or yourself, it's kind of something happen, right? Most of the time. And then what's the best way to, overcome that? And how can you really solve that problem to build up more kind of good friendship with your parents or your friend that, used to be a friend and sometimes you know what? Challenges, often you could transform them into opportunity to learn. And that's kind of, I think it's a common sort of thing that you can share as a human being. Doesn't matter whether you are really a believer in the religion or not. As a human being, not even human being, even an animal too, right? They all want to, since they do have, we all have this kind of sense of feeling, the mind that you could experience pain, pleasure, good, bad. And we often want to have something pleasurable, something nice, something better, something good, not the, unpleasant thing or the difficulties. But it happened because of the causes, condition that we have created somehow. Or then sometimes the external force help to create the trouble bigger. In that case, we have to be really careful that it does not, the external kind of disturbances does not really, like trigger to your emotional just stir up and make extra kind of worry, extra kind of fear. And there's always many different ways and means to, like avoid this conflict and then create more conducive or more helpful. Either could be by the thinking pattern, what do you call it? The way that how do you really think, how do you really deal with your emotion? So what I did was I thought, it doesn't matter, whether someone you really believe into the religion or not, doesn't very much matter. And the how to find inner peace in every challenge, everyday challenges. And maybe it's good to just base on certain books, classical books. Not necessarily these books are for someone who believe in the religion. These are kind of guideline. How do you really find purpose in your life? And I thought it was good to pick up one text that, this is quite lengthy text. Well, not that lengthy, but it has a total 40, let me see. We have like a 3 session. And it has like it's called the 37 practice of the Bodhisattvas. 37 practice of the Bodhisattvas. And you could see, I think you see only the Tibetan. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's it. Thank you. Okay, maybe leave it there. This is the title of the text. So, 37 practice of the Bodhisattvas. And it doesn't matter. It's okay. And when you say Bodhisattvas, what is Bodhisattva? It may be good to learn what is Bodhisattva and what is Bodhicitta. I guess you often hear when you go to like this kind of teaching. So what does it mean by Bodhisattva and what does it mean by Bodhicitta? So Bodhisattva mean any beings, okay? Beings, living beings, someone who have a mind and a body, who can think about what is right and what is wrong, and who have some, clear kind of mind that think, plan for the day or the week or the month. I mean, why I'm saying this, the modern education where you get a lot of kind of education very much orient like a more kind of, what do you call it, like physical sort of way to learning. When you go to the school or the colleges, of course you'll read, you could, you have the textbooks, but many of the time I'm noticing, and maybe I'm wrong, you have to have something that to learn, especially science. When you learn like a modern science, you have to have something that you can touch it, or you can press it, or you have to draw, or you have to some kind of screen where you could see. Then you make sense, make some experiment. Or these are the kind of method that you use for learning. But the classical, the traditional way of to learn how to tackle our emotion, when you say, inner peace for everyday life, meaning inner peace for everyday life, where you say the inner. And when you say inner, there's external. Yes or no? What do you think?
Inner.
Of course, right?
Inner is internal.
Right, exactly. When you say inner peace, and do we have external peace also? Critical thinking are really important for finding purpose and inner peace. You can think about inner peace. So meaning I want to find peace of mind instead of like a house or nice kind of facilities. Of course, these are kind of required. These are needed. It's for us to live, but the main thing out of the external needs and the inner need, inner peace is more important, right? Can you give some kind of example? For example, someone who can find really, really good inner peace, but maybe external facility, for example, someone who don't have house or enough food, or maybe no clothes or no shelter, but somehow they live very happily, peacefully. They have really beautiful smile, and then they can they can interact with people without much problem. Can you find some kind of example? Can you think about any example that, someone who have really good inner peace, meaning peaceful mind, and where there are lack of external facilities. Yes. Yes.
Like India, like there's a lot of homeless people, but they're so much more like peaceful and almost like feel sorry for people who have material things. But also like in our Western civilization, they're often like seen as like homeless people on our streets, like it's like a mental illness thing. So it's like a difference of perspective.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just asking any individual, any personal experience or any kind of incident that you see someone who seems like a physically very poor, poor meaning like a, not kind of what do you call it, luxury thing in place, but somehow they have a beautiful smile, they maintain well, sometimes it's really helpful for us to use them as a kind of role model for us to live, life that way. That's why I'm just asking. It's not really, it's always good to get some, people experience to share, and that way you can find, the inner peace for yourself by sharing, the knowledge you share among ourselves. Yes, you could have like someone who may have some more knowledge about it, but more knowledge or not knowledge, it's my image. Everything is very much kind of dependency. It's, what do you call it? Like a very much a relative. you know. So that's why I was just asking. When I was checking on the inner peace for everyday challenges, it looks like a very simple or like a nice kind of sentence or like themes, but you can dig so much, very much in different levels, different layers. What kind of inner peace you want. Very, very peaceful all the time, 24/7. You can maintain like very peaceful, no anger, no hatred, no emotional turmoil, or you would just maybe I want to have like an inner peace and peaceful mind for today, but maybe tomorrow is okay. I get angry. If someone think that way or not, probably not. No, nobody intentionally thinking that I think it's good to be angry. I think it's good to be hostile. I think it's very good to be, good to have some hatred. How many of you think that it's good to have the hatred and anger should be good to have with you within your mind stream? Nobody, right? See, so these are kind of, really much common knowledge. So here, this 37 practice of the Bodhisattvas talk a lot about how to deal with the emotion things and how to train your mind. It's actually known as like a mind training, a very, very, rich text that written by a Tibetan, 13th, 14th centuries Tibetan practitioner by the name of Tumizangpo. Where you have written the Gyaltse Tumizangpo. So Gyaltse is Tibetan word, and Gyaltse meaning is son of the Buddha. Gyalwa, son of the Victoria. Actually, I think it's better to say the translation. Gyaltse, Gyalwa means Victoria. Se means the son of Victoria one, or the daughter of the Victoria one. So you could put it that way too. It's not only by son, but the way that you use, 37 practices of Bodhisattva by Gyaltse Tumizangpo. So he was the author. He authored these textbooks, which has the main practices of 37 verses. In Tibetan, you have verses where you have mostly you have 4 lines. And I was just thinking you're going to give just a summary of it. And if you have time, if you are interested, you can read this text. I think you have upload the text on the website, right?
It's free, if you just Google it.
Yeah, so you can find, that's it. You can find it. This one is actually have both the Tibetan and the English version. If someone know Tibetan language, you can read the Tibetan language too. But the English is the main language right here. And So in 3 sessions, I think we can do just summary of it. And so out of the 37, like a 40, let me see, 42. Yeah, okay. The text, how you divide, maybe just good to know how is it. It has like a 3 parts. When you study it, it has 3 parts, meaning it actually the name, the term that they use, it's like the virtues at the beginning, meaning virtue, meaning any virtue. Have you heard virtue? Right? Virtuous or positive action. A virtuous action or positive action mean any action that give rise to you happiness or peace. That's the virtuous, known as virtuous. And then non-virtuous, any action could be body, speech, and mind action. Any action that give rise the result unpleasant, suffering, uneasy, misery, this is known as non-virtuous. It's nothing to do with the religion or belief or God or Buddha or Jesus. Well, maybe it has to do something probably, but in reality, very much kind of common or universal sort of knowledge. So virtues at the beginning, and then it said the virtues in the middle, and then the virtues at the end. This is how we divide the 37 practice of the verses, the text. So where you say it, like the virtues at the beginning, meaning the introduction of the text, introduction of the books, what he's going to talk about it. So he himself was a great practitioner with full of compassion, loving, caring, patient, and it's known as the embodiment of the compassion person. He's known as the like embodiment of the compassion person, where you said gyalse. Gyalse Timizambo, someone who practiced always compassion and altruistic mind and always thinking others, other before self. This is the mental attitude he had. He has, he was like a 13th, 14th century practitioner, and this tradition and his teaching, the guidance actually prevailed from that to until now is very, very common and quite popular, like teaching, and anybody can adapt it to and apply in your life. So whenever you face some difficulties, you can apply with these teachings. Okay. So the verses at the beginning, the introduction have 7 verses actually. And then the first 2 verses are actually call it the pay homage. So pay homage to his own teacher. Yeah. Yeah, this verse. Thank you. So where you see Namo Lokeshwaraya, it's a Sanskrit word. Are you familiar with Sanskrit? Have you heard any? Okay, it's a very ancient Indian language, like a 2005 year before. It's still, this language is still used, and many of the classical texts of the mind training, you can find these texts are translated from Indian language to Tibetan language, and then nowadays is translating into English and other like Spanish, Italian. There are many great thinker who think these are kind of valuable for universally and something that you could use for your mind training. Mind training means something that you could use as a tool to become more compassionate person, to become more patient person, to become more what do you call it mindfulness person, more mindful, aware what is going around, more responsible person. This kind of instruction that they give, okay? And you don't have to make any commitment. You don't have to do any kind of bow down to somebody. You don't have to do any ceremonial ritual, nothing. You can read it and you can decide it what you want. Whether it's something helpful to apply your, tackle with your daily life, trouble, or something, maybe not helpful. If you feel like, maybe it's not helpful, maybe it's not easy, or maybe it's not I can't be able to apply today, maybe you could just say leave for now and wait, then maybe another time it makes sense. But anyway, Namo Logisharaya mean Namo meaning, I pay homage. You pay homage, meaning why you are paying homage, meaning you are paying respect. Homage means, you're paying respect. So we could pay respect for those who have more knowledge, those who are more caring for others people. If you respect that person, somehow you can adapt that kind of attitude to yourself. And that's how you really apply these skills to find inner peace of yourself. So that, if you pay respect, or if you pay homage to, someone who is very, like a role model for many, and appreciation is involved there, and then using as a role model is involved there, and then like in sometimes also encouragement could come, because he or she is able to live this kind of life, and why I cannot too, because I'm also a human being. I also have a mind that I can make that, think about it, what is right and what is wrong. And that's how you really pay homage to the, those who have done so much good thing for human being, right? So that's why he, before he wrote down the text, he paid homage to his teacher. Here's a, Namo Lokishwaraya. So Namo Lokishwaraya is actually about, Lokishwara is a Sanskrit word, again, is the name of the Buddha compassion. Okay, so here, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, I'm pretty sure you have all heard him, right? So he is the embodiment of Avalokiteshvara, who intentionally take rebirth, or take a life in different form, in human form, and come back to, on this earth to help us, to instruct, to give us how to, how to value your inner value, how do you really promote your inner values. So that's what, when the author, Kazetumi example, pay homage, or wrote one verses as a salutation, two verses. First one is pay homage to his teacher. Okay, Namalokishwara, you see that all phenomena neither come nor go, still you strive solely for the benefit of beings. See, benefit beings. Supreme Guru and Protector Chenrezig, to you I continually bow with my body, speech, and mind. It talk a lot, it's kind of heavy words are there. Don't worry. It doesn't matter. There's some heavy words there. I could see that. But he was actually paying homage to his teacher, who is the embodiment of Avalokiteshvara, or the Buddha of compassion. And you have all these good qualities, and I pay homage to you. You are all this quality. What kind of the qualities you have? You see things how it exists. You have the wisdom to make the differentiation. What is reality is what is not reality. How we are actually under the sway of kind of misconception, and that misguiding ourselves, like driving ourselves into the wrong way, because of believing that whatever is appear to you that's true, and then you attach so much to the external thing, and then sometimes it's so strong kind of aversion towards some external thing, and then something not really attractive, or not kind of not attractive and non-attractive. It's kind of neutral, or nothing to do with me, ignore them. And that's how this is known as like a three poison. Have you heard that? Three poison? Ignorance, attachment, aversion is known as like a three poison. It poisons our mind stream. The presence of which it's disturbs our mind. That's how we lose the peace of mind in everyday life. So if you try to less attachment person, or less hatred person, and maybe sharpen your wisdom a little bit more, expand your knowledge more, and then you could see like a far vision, not really, instead of say really narrow-minded, maybe expand a little bit expand a little bit your heart. So that's how it is. So where he was saying that you see that all phenomena neither come nor go, still you strive solely for the benefit of beings. He was, he's here or she's here to benefit for all beings, irrespective of your relative or parents or family. It doesn't matter, sometimes you use kind of name, we mix kind of category, anyway, nearest and dearest one or friends, and the neutral being. But if you think really carefully, there is not such a being out there as a kind of enemy. The main enemy is inside here. Because of this disturbing mind, we create, some kind of wall in between ourselves. If you just treat, we are all human beings. How come that, someone is having an enemy and someone is your friend? Maybe let's try to learn a little bit, extend our kind of compassion a little bit beyond this little boundary. So there's a way you can train. There's a way to train somehow. So what this that this is when he was the author was paying homage to like Buddha compassion by citing the knowledge of the like values that he was keeping, she was keeping, and then I'm so admire what you're doing, and because of that I really bow down to you. This is what he was saying. And Supreme Guru, these are Sanskrit word. Supreme Guru means Supreme teacher, right? Guru is a Sanskrit or the Hindi word. And then protector, here, protector Cherezi. So in this sense, what does it mean by protector? Protector, I mean, of course, usually, the parents, they protect their, children, right? Same here, you have the two beautiful children with your mom, right? Mom and dad, beautiful. See, your mom and dad always for you to protect whenever when you're facing some difficulties or challenges. So until we stand ourselves, especially when they are young, the parent, grandparent, family have a responsibility to take care of them. It's something. It's a very universal thing, right? Not like a burden. It's more like a responsibility. So this is what you say. Here, what does it mean by protector, Cherizik? To you, I continually bow down with my body, speech, and mind. So how do you really bow down in the body, speech, and mind? There's many different kind of tradition to bow down. I think it looks like folding your hand and bow down is quite common in many, many different cultures and many different countries. And you just do like this and then bow down, say, good morning, or tashidele. In Tibetan words, they say tashidele. The word tashidele means tashidele. Tashi means you have the auspiciousness and the most happiness. This is the word. So we greet people tashidele. And then similar thing in different languages, you can find it, okay? So the verse is, this is the known as this, the verse to pay homage to his own teacher. Okay, then now verse number 1. And then verse number 2, perfect Buddha, the source of benefit and happiness, arise from practicing the genuine Dharma, which in turn depend on knowing how to practice. Here's I'll explain the Bodhisattva practices. This is known as promising to compose the text. You could say like a thoughtful beings or like a great being, they do not make commitment easily. If you make a commitment, they do not make commitment easily, meaning if he or she make the commitment, then she or he will never give up until they complete the task. So because of that, he was making I'm going to, he's promising that I'm going to write down this text to complete and give the whole picture of how do you really become complete, fully, and a happiest person or more knowledgeable person. It has all this, each verses have the meaning. How do you really work with that? So this is known as the promise to complete, to write the text. Promising write the text, which is known as that, yeah, okay. I was, first I actually make like three point. You remember that? Virtues at the beginning, virtues in the middle, and the virtues at the end. At the beginning is more introductory, where you have two verse. One is paying salutation to the, like a more knowledgeable person or being. Here it's the embodiment of Avalokiteshvara. And then the second verse where the promising that he's going to write down these books, it may be really beneficial for many beings in the future. That was, he had the intention to write it down to benefit many other beings. And the benefit, what way to benefit? Train your mind with the right way. Build up this right skill for your mind that you can tackle very easily with this disturbing emotion. So that's we say, like, the inner peace, for everyday challenges. Okay. And so now the real, actual text start from the verse number 1, where you have number, right? Yeah. And the first two, it doesn't really number. It is a number, the verse, it doesn't have the number over there, because it's just a, the starting point where you pay the salutation and the promising. So now verse number 1, the main body text has the 37 verses, and it's each verses have it, contain that practical kind of tools that offer how to really tackle your emotion. That's what it is. So then the verse number 1 is, so the title could be like a difficult of gaining a life with freedom and fortune, meaning the content. Okay, but here the verse, now that you have obtained this precious human body, the great boat too difficult to find, in order to free yourself and others from the ocean of samsara, listening, reflecting, and meditating with diligent day and night. It is the practice of the Bodhisattvas. So I actually only mention briefly what does it mean by Bodhisattva, what does it mean by Bodhicitta. Bodhisattva is someone who courageously promising to help others no matter what. Very strong determination to benefit other beings. Bodhisattva is a beings, someone who have, bravely, not in the violently, but with the lovingly, with the caring, and help others. That's known as a bodhisattvas. In this different kind, loosen sort of understanding. There's some technical things are there too. It's someone who, like a someone who want to become like a fully awakened person in order to able to benefit other beings. These are known as bodhisattvas. So maybe some of you may have already bodhisattva, you never know, because I can't really read clearly your mind and how you really, interact with people in day-to-day life. So you never really know. We have to value our own, the inner values when you're thinking, oh, compassion is something really need to be practiced. And someone who really, some compassion means I wish all beings free from samsara, or samsara here, the word came here. Samsara is, the full of kind of suffering, where you have so many difficulties, so many problems, trouble. But you can get a lesson too. The challenges are lessons. You can transform them into opportunity to understand better. Got it? So bodhisattva, the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is not like, altruistic mind that become fully awakened person, known as a Buddha or awakened one, in order to be able to help others. That's the bodhisattvas. Okay. Now the number 1, it's talk about the precious human body. So human body is something very precious we consider. And why and how, you can make a comparison, because the people animal lover, right? Some people, they love animals. That's a wonderful thing. Of course, animal also need, they also deserve live peacefully and happily. They are animal. And, because of the animal, you can't really, do anything what you want. So there are a lot of people who do the animal rights things. That's really, really good thing too. But compared to the animal and human being have the marvelous kind of mind, and the human body it's known as a really, really precious human body, where you say now you have obtained that precious human body, the great boat, so difficult to find. So why is it so difficult to find? Usually you talk a lot about, there are so many, this is rare to find it, meaning it's rare to find it. What does it really mean? I don't want to go too much kind of philosophical things in here. With this human being, with this human body, you can achieve a lot of things. You can do a lot of good things. And just think about that. You so think precious human body is usually is known as like a, the who have like in 8 leisure and 10 in what was the other one? Endowment. But I don't want to go that too detail because we don't have much time. And we just go to, these are non precious human body is, you have 8 leisure and 10 endowment. Maybe you can learn what are there, okay? What are there? You can check with that. And when you say the great boat, to difficult to find, great boat mean using the human body as a boat in order to be able to cross from this side of the ocean to the other side of the ocean. What do? We ride on the boat and then surf. I don't know. So the boat takes you from here to then there. So with this human body, with this human mind, if we put effort, we could free from all the suffering, all the uneasy thing, miseries. That's why with this body you can cross the ocean of samsara and get into the complete peace, where you say like peace and happiness. That's why it's not a boat. All right. And then here you say, in order to free yourself and others, the free word here is not just like a get free, free yourself, meaning free yourself from the disturbing mind. Free yourself from the disturbing mind. Could some example, ignorance is number one, attachment, aversion, jealousy, competitive mind, some of this mental kind of factors or mental element that disturb your mind, and because of that, it's just creates so many trouble, so many drama among family, among society, and maybe sometimes it's escalate to international level. The root cause is somewhere inside, not really, that when the inside is completely stirred up, and then you react with the external thing. It's quite obvious, right? When you get, when you're so strong anger, and get so much strong angry with somebody, it could often happen that you could lift up a stone and throw, right? This is the external thing happen. But if you see anger is not helpful at all, and I really want to work with that. I want to just minimize slowly. And you can find a different way, if someone who is really, 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 the level of the emotion is really high. In that case, I think it's better just we have to deal with different methods. Maybe, just sit down for a minute or like this, and then try to, it's depend on what the degree of the emotional, intensity of the emotion turmoil is really happening in. If someone is really, really having some disturbing minds, really kind of strong and gross, in that situation, maybe that whoever they in helping that person to cool down, like a psychologists are there, therapists are there. You have so many different ways and means to cool down that. in my tradition, or how I try is maybe, just sit down and breathe very naturally, do some breathing exercise, because the body and mind is always together, right? And you do some, physical exercise, try to find some, just cool down. You have to find like your layer, right? How to really cool down. So then, find some conducive place, meaning quiet place where you feel more kind of in a friendly kind of atmosphere, and just sit down, and maybe you can close your eyes, or maybe you can, keep your eyes open and sit properly. And they could be in the chair, or maybe sit on the ground where you could have, if possible, when you say, I'm sure you haven't heard about meditation, right? So, you can have different levels of meditation. So if someone is very serious about meditation, usually it's good to have the sit in a little bit higher at the back, and then sit, your spine straight, and then try as much as possible to relax your body, really, really relax in a normal manner, and straight them in a spine, and keep just do some kind of mindfulness of scanning your body. Make sure there's, tense. If there's some kind of tense in your shoulder, maybe do some little exercise like this, and then you just do that, and make sure it's this, sit really comfortably. If you have find, difficult to sit in cross leg, sitting on the chair is perfectly fine. And, the main thing is just make sure that you can breathe really normally and calmly. This is what, you need to do. And if someone not really that disturbed, that high intensity sort of emotion is there, then you can go a little deeper. There's different degrees are there. So this classical text give a lot of, sometimes something is, oh, wow, maybe I'm not the person who will we engage in this kind of thing. You could find this kind of thing, but then take U-turn. Why not? Is somebody else able to do this? Why I cannot do that? You can ask the question for yourself, right? So that's how you really do this, like a contemplation. All right, so the verse number 1 is talk about the precious human life. Human life is so precious, or something incomparable with others, where you can achieve a lot. You can do a lot of good thing for sure. And if you do not really use it correctly, maybe we can create the bad thing too. And then in reality, in generally, nobody want to be bad person, right? Anyway, just, I'm sorry using this kind of word, but I think it's okay. There's nothing wrong to use good human and bad human being. In reality, there's no bad human being at all there. Everybody's good. We are all, friends and families. Whether you know each other or not, doesn't much matter. Whether you have like curly hair or bald or, whatever color, whatever, way of living, maybe just greet each other. I'm just meeting some human being that coming from different location on this planet. In reality, we are all seeking happiness and some good purpose in your life, rather than, so making this wall is because dislike, like, these are just temporary thing, very temporary thing. If you like, like I said, for example, a momo, have you heard this food momo? It's quite kind of a, popular, uh, Tibetan food. Maybe, for example, if I like momo, and I'm eating the momo, and then, because I like it, and I can't really insist other people to like it, right? So different bodies and different appetites are different are there, and we have to just respect others, others kind of others needs, others wish, and others like or dislike. You can't really force people to, you should eat momo because it's really good. And if you ask again, you can ask, it's really good, and then you can ask me why it is so good. And then the one thing is I like it. It's just some sort of selfish is involved there. if I like it, doesn't mean everybody like it, right? So why I'm saying here this one, where did it come? Anybody know why I took this? Let me see why I was mentioning about the Momo thing.
The dualism between thinking like no one's really good and no one's really
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Right. So for me, Momo is good food, but not for you, maybe pizza is good food. You just respect each other. That was the kind of connection I think I was talking. Okay, here. Cross from samsara. Samsara is a Hindi word or Sanskrit word, meaning, let's see. Oh, I think better just run a little bit. Free, yeah, I was talking about the free yourself. Free yourself means free yourself from the disturbing emotion. That's the main thing. And also another word is called free yourself from the disturbing emotion and contaminated action. This is, we, take from here. And then listening, reflecting, and meditating diligently day and night is the practice of Bodhisattva, meaning, listening some good teaching about how to free yourself, and then give some thought on that, and then try to get some kind of a little sense of experience within your mind. And we should do try to do that on a regular basis, where you say day and night, meaning, this is the only way that I can find peace of mind. And I was mentioning about the intensity of the disturbing mind. If you are really kind of a really strong kind of emotion is there, then breathing exercise, or maybe yoga, or maybe we can go for a walk with friend. And we have to find the different ways. So the verse number 2, the verse number 1, the main thing that you take away is the difficult of gaining difficult of gaining a life with freedom and fortune, meaning the person's human body is very difficult to obtain. And how it is difficult, there's actually the causes and the entity of they're given many Lama Tsongkhapa in Lamrim teaching. They have given like the 3, 4, 5 different kind of tools why it's so difficult. The causes are difficult. That there's an example doesn't get difficult, but meaning the causes condition. We have to create the causes condition to become a human being. But here, human being doesn't mean this. Whether the body is a human being or the mind is a human being. We can do a lot of analyzing things like that. Our body got from our parent. Are you sure? Yes, right? So I guess human, non-human is designated based on, dependent on the body, right? And how many of you think that mind and body is different? Can you explain?
No.
Oh.
Your body leaves after.
What was that?
Your body like decays and dies after a bit, but
Mhm.
inside goes on.
Okay. And so your body can decay, get all that sickness and decay, and then sometimes you can cremate or you can bury, but the mind cannot.
Hmm?
Mind cannot. Okay, good. Any other have any kind of idea about? I'm really interested to know, because not just for selfish reason, it's always good to get some kind of information from we are coming from different culture background, right? And different kind of thinking pattern. Yeah. Can you?
I think the mind can be part of the problem.
What was that?
The mind can be part of the problem. I think the mind's keeps the body alive. And so sometimes we can be a little selfish.
And then body?
Body's just a boat, vessel, right?
Body is just a boat.
Yeah.
So like a house. Here it used actually a house and the
It's
guest and guest
easier.
house. The mind is like the guest, and then the body is like a guest house. Yes,
I've always kind of thought of it like the body's almost the vessel of the mind. Like the
Vessel
mind
of
is
the
its
mind.
own entity that uses the body as its proxy or its vessel.
I always believe that they're one and the same,
Was that
that they're the same.
at the same?
There's this new like psychology coming out that the body actually holds trauma and the mind won't recognize anymore. So if you have pain, you could hold that pain in your shoulder and your mind could forget about it. But your body would still feel it.
So your body still feel it, and my mind kind of feel it.
Yeah, the mind like forgets or pushes it away. And so people then will do meditation
Mhm.
and they'll meditate on the pain and open up a new memory to the mind. Like one that they just forgot about or it suppressed.
So are you saying it's same or different then?
I'm saying it's the same. And then I think what like the
But
body
how come then the body hold the pain, but the mind forget?
yeah.
But you're making the separation two of this,
No,
right?
I think they're like but like they act together. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you know, the mind experiences, the body feels it, and they're like a system.
Okay, okay. Well, why I was asking this question is I've heard, I mean, maybe there's some kind of like a neuroscientist, some perspective about the mind. I heard from somebody, I guess we actually attended some science workshop in the past, like more than 10 years ago. And many like modern scientists, especially like modern, like what you call it, neuroscientists, they think mind is the emerging property of the brain. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
What do you think? You.
I think you're correct that many neuroscientists nowadays
they think?
that it's an emerging property of the brain.
So when you say mind is emergent property of the brain, mean that the brain create the mind.
According
that-
to many neuroscientists, that's what they believe.
Okay. I was asking why the mind and the brain. Do you think the mind and brain is same or different? Because
The mind is the vessel. The brain is the vessel of the mind. Let's, for example, if your brain is limited or defective, your mind cannot thrive completely. So one kind of depends.
Depend each other, very much interconnected.
Right, not separate but dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said depend each other, you mean that different things. I mean,
Yes.
the mind and body is a different thing, but they're very closely connected to each other.
I feel like it's the same way that the body is also dependent on the mind. If we're
Exactly.
going back to the discussion.
Yes,
about like they're
exactly,
two are
exactly.
separate.
Good, yeah, thank you. Okay, now let's see. Now the verse number 2 is about giving up one's native land. This is what it's called. Here the verse read, patience toward friends churns like water. Hatred towards enemies burn like fire. Through the darkness of ignorance, one forget what to adapt and what to reject. To abandon one's homeland is the practice of Bodhisattva. So you need some explanation here. What does it mean by abandon your homeland? It doesn't mean you have to give up your country and go somewhere else. It doesn't mean you have to give up your home and go somewhere else. It doesn't mean you have to give up your family and go somewhere else. What does it mean is where the place or the location or the community where so much hatred, so much attachment, so much disturbing mind is always kind of continually happening again and again repeatedly. And then if you are really searching something more than that, then find more conducive place. And this is what I live in. Patience towards friends churns like water, hatred toward enemies burn like fire. Through the darkness of ignorance, one forget what to adopt and what to reject. To abandon one's homeland is the practice of Bodhisattvas, meaning don't attach too much for a certain group of people. Don't really try not hate too much to certain group of people. maybe try to find some equanimity, try to learn how to build up some of this understanding each other, use this dialogue, use the conversation, skillful communication among ourselves, and live with peacefully rather than that. But if someone really wanted to achieve like higher realization, who wanted to devote their life complete for whole life in this, so go in the forest and meditate and retreat, someone is really, really serious about this kind of thing, someone who sees like whatever, the samsara, meaning the cycle existence, no matter wherever you go, no matter whoever you meet, it's just the nature of suffering. And I want to do something else than that, then there are options. Go to the mountain somewhere in the jungle, meaning in the forest, and meditate under Bodhi trees. But of course, you have to find the shelter, the food and shelter, since we have to live with it. So here, I think the main, kind of main thing that main take away thing what you get is do not attach too much for certain people, and to do not, hatred, build up kind of hatred too much to, do not make kind of grouping people. Instead, try to just open your heart and share. Just think that the whole, let's see, of course, it's sometimes it's difficult. I don't know how many billion people on this earth now, although nearly 8 billion, right? No matter where they are, everybody is same in the sense of human being who strive, happiness and peace and right to live happily and with purpose, and try whatever way you can be helpful rather than attach and words and, ignores. This is the takeaway I guess you can get from this verse. And yeah, of course, you can do a lot of technical debate, discussion, digging into that. You can read like a different, commentaries. What does it really mean that? And there's so much, it could be explored so much and expand your knowledge. This is what the verse number 2 can take. And verse number, or is 11th? Okay. Verse number 3. So it's read about giving up in hospital. What is that? in hospitable. My pronunciation is so funny. Giving up in hospitable place, mental affliction gradually decrease. With no distraction, virtuous activities naturally increase. When mind becomes clear, conviction in the Dharma is born. Therefore, seeking solitude is the practice of the Bodhisattvas. So, I was saying that verse number 1 to 7 is laying the foundation to the practice, meaning it's the preliminary practice rather than the actual practice. It's an introduction. So you're laying down, your serious practice. So you have to find the conducive place. The number 1 is give up this, so many drama, a place and people where we all are persistently coming so many drama, and this maybe just go away and then find right place, meaning conducive place. I think this is right place, where you find really, really quiet, peaceful atmosphere, friendly atmosphere, and where you have, seat and good place where to sit and you can think inwardly, right? Where you have to find a peace of mind for now, right? So conducive place and conducive, like a like-minded people. But doesn't mean like when you say try to find like-minded people, meaning, those who disagree with, just not really discarding them, or not really, that he or him is not for me. No. Okay, for this time, maybe, we have to wait. We have to wait. And then another time, probably yes. From deep down, just maybe think that everyone is your friends or part of your family rather than enemy. So this is what the verse number 2. And then now verse number, oh no, sorry. Verse number 2 is giving up this drama. And verse number 3 is finding right place and right people where you can do your practice good. And then verse number 4 Verse number 4 is being mindful of impermanence. Here you have to, no matter whether, the number one, the verse number 1 and number 2, where you say, in not kind of a right place of people that you could, maybe they are not 100% right or 100% wrong. And the conducive place, the right place is also not absolutely up there. Things can change. For example, in the morning, we get along really well. And there's some, elements, some causes, condition make kind of not understand each other well in the evening. Things change, right? Because it's a composite thing. All composite things are impermanent. This is, the kind of universal sort of statement. All composite things are impermanent. I mean, anything that came to being due to the causes and condition, it changed. It never stayed there like forever. So here you talk about the verse number, let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Friends and relatives acquaintance for long will separate. Possession gain with assertion will be left behind. Consciousness, the guest, will leave the guest house of the body. Here you talk about the mind and the body. To let go of life, this life is the practice of Bodhisattva. Life is, whether our life is only this life, or is there anything more than that? You can think about this and beyond. Doesn't not necessarily you have to, like believe into the river system in this verse number 4, but you can just do some your own 100% up to the individual hand, whether you want to just find something, like a when you say training your mind, we are trying to make the differentiation between the mind and the body. And out of taking care of the mind, okay, His Holiness the Lama often use this one: emotional hygiene and then physical hygiene. Have you heard that? So when you say health, of course, there's so many, different places. You said, mental health is a big issue, right? So you need to have the mental health, healing for the mind, and then healing of the body. So the healing of the body, yes, you have the medicines, foods, and clothes. These are the healing of the, part of the heal your mind, heal your body. But how do you heal your mind? Just train your mind. Find some concrete, right method to how do you really train your mind. So that's why some of these mind training teachings are very important. So, and then think about, if you train our mind well, for example, from very child, like young people like her and him, right? Here, yes. I think there's a lot of it's really much matter for children where you give some planted seed about how to live happily, how do you really do not really be kind of aggressive person. The culture things are always influence you, because the culture, of course, then the religion sometime too, but out of the mainly just as a human being, we have so many values are there, and then try to teach our children to live with us and good values of yourself. And when you teach that from a very young age, and most of the time that children, when they grow up, they're always kind of more or less very good at how to tackle with this emotional turmoil when they're growing up. If someone grew up somewhere, the place or the country or the family where they have so many, for example, you can take an example of someone who, in a family, always drinking, taking drug, and always indulging into the wrong engagements, things like that. And the family, the children, they also plant these kind of imprints in their mind, And when they grow up, even though it's really difficult to work with these people. So because of that, we can just think about only this lifetime. No, you don't have to think about the future lifetime. Whether the future life exists or not doesn't matter. Maybe it exists, maybe not. You can't really say yes or no now. If something not seen by me, it doesn't mean it's non-existent, right? Not seeing doesn't mean non-existent. Have you heard that? Not seen doesn't mean non-existent. It's a very good way to put it that. So mind travel, as you know, what's your name? Ra? Robin. She said, when you die, our body decay, you can cremate, you can become ashes, but mind travel, right? So where this is what it verse number, which one it says? Guess the guest house, right? Okay, verse number 4 is talking about more like impermanence. Impermanence means it momentarily change. Things can change. It takes place change. Because why it's a change? Because it's all composite things that could produce by causes and condition. And today's enemy, tomorrow's best friend. Tomorrow's, enemies, maybe next day is the best friend. These always change. Everything change, constantly change. And just be, kind of aware that things can change. Don't just stick with obsessively with one thing. The verse number 4 is actually talking about impermanence. What was that? Yeah, 4. Verse number 4 is talking about impermanence. And you could do a lot of impermanence, also have like a gross impermanence and then subtle impermanence. Maybe just keep in mind of gross, and subtle. So anything that, momentary changing, it has gross and subtle are there. And then verse number 5 is giving up bad company. That's a kind of, difficult. How do we make the differentiation between that? When friendship with someone causes the 3 poison to increase, degrades the activities of listening, reflecting, and meditating, and destroy loving kindness and compassion. To give up such a friendship is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So here you have to get some explanation about it. How can make differentiation between bad friend and good friend, or like a bad company or good company. When we are not confident enough to stand ourselves with full confidence, there's a danger that the negative action of those people, there are some people who have, maybe some degrees of more kind of, for example, someone who is engaging into using drug all the time. If you hang up with the person all the time, then slowly, you will adopt that kind of behavior, using drug or drinking alcohol all the time. And this actually ruin your own life, right? So for beginner, you better avoid this kind of a company. But from deep down, the compassion should be there. You shouldn't really, hate those people. Maybe physically live distance, just for your own safety reason. And physically you can stay in distance. You're selfish. Be selfish. Why not? Selfish doesn't mean only when you say selfish, only think of yourself and nothing else, nobody else. No, I am the most important. I don't care about others. This kind of mental attitude is not the right thing to have for a human being. But to a very practical way, very practical level, and make sure we can tell what is going on within ourselves, right? And we can make the right decision what to do, and to whom you should hang out, you should spend time your time. Where you said like giving up like a bad company. the verse number 5, which is like giving up bad company. Giving up bad company doesn't mean, that just ignore that some of the people who may have, a little bit kind of unfavorable sort of, behavior, or maybe not helpful kind of behavior, the discipline, then maybe better just stay away for some time for our own, good purpose. It could have some selfish reason for sure, but there's nothing wrong to be wise selfish. All right. So, and then verse number 6. Verse number 6 is how to rely on like a good friends, rely on good friends, like-minded people who love always talk up, who always have interest to discuss about good thing, something beneficial thing for society, for family, for country, for the world. Is someone who have this kind of an attitude, maybe good to spend with these people. That's the number 6. Okay, where you say rely on good friends. Okay, what does it read? When in reliance on someone, your negativity diminish. If you rely on that person, your negativity isn't diminished. You are improving your mental attitude, your behavior, your way of thinking, your way of communicating people, your way of benefiting people is increasing. It's really improving. Then try to spend with those people. That's what it means. When in relying on someone, your negativity is diminished and your positive qualities grow like a waxing moon. This is beautiful. To cherish such a spiritual friend more than your body, it is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So cherish these people, but not attach. Cherish and attachment are different. There's a difference between cherish and attach. Attachment, most of the time, kind of there's some blindness involved. And there's always strong kind of selfishness involved. Expectation is involved. But cherish, yeah, you can cherish. It's something really beautiful that between you and me, or you and me. And there's so much common within us. And then cherish with that. And cherish, if you cherish with that, then you always want to act with this kind of, life, this kind of action. So that's what it says, cherish more than your body, more than, and where you increase your positivity, so good qualities, your good qualities, the mind, body, speech, and mind, increasing like a waxing moon. And then your negativities, for example, hostility, or too much hatred thing, too much kind of attachment thing, jealousy thing. These are slowly, like a decreasing. Then it's the right person to spend with that. This is what you really mean, care. And then verse number 7, it say taking refuge. Here in it, 7 ways themselves captive in the prison of samsara, whom can the worldly gods protect? Therefore, to seek refuge in the three jewels, who do not betray you, is the practice of Bodhisattva. The explanation here, I need to explain it here. Here, when you say in this classical mind training text, where you talk about taking refuge, here, refuge have 2 types. The object of refuge. Have you heard that? The object of refuge. We take refuge into the object of refuge. So there are 2 types of object of refuge. External object of refuge and then inner object of refuge. The external object of refuge meaning those who teach you how to live life. Could be Buddha, could be Jesus Christ, could be, any enlightened being, any beings that with a full of love and caring for others, who give us the instruction how to live life happily, less selfish, more generous, all this good teaching, that the life skill that who give teaching, they are external refuge. We consider it in this classical text, they consider their external refuge, object of refuge. And then out of these 2, inner refuge is the most important we consider. Inner refuge, what are the inner refuge? Our own mental qualities, compassion, loving, caring, practice patience, practicing generosity, maintain ethical discipline. These are our inner refuge. This is it's called an inner refuge. So we all can improve these qualities. This will protect us. If someone is trained as a very compassionate person, and it protect you to hurting other people, that means you are protecting from, harming others, right? The protection mean you're these qualities, these qualities help us to restrain the wrongdoing. So that's why you call it like a inner protection. Inner protection, external protection. This is it's the verse number 7, okay? Themselves captive in the prison of samsara, whom can the worldly gods protect? Worldly gods, I don't know how to, explain who and what, something kind of mystery thing. So there's no gods that, harmful for sure. But when you say protection, you'd have like a long-term protection, short-term protection, and then large-scale protection, and then smaller-scale protection. And we may have to choose which one more suitable for us. Something that protect for long-term, larger scale of human being or larger scale of beings. Maybe far-sighted people could pick the far-sighted, like larger scale, and the long-term. If you find the long-term solution is always, most of the time, long-term solutions are better than the short-term, right? And sometimes it depending on the circumstances, you have to make some decision that like something that benefit for you. Okay, this is an important thing. If some decision or some action is something seemingly beneficial for so long short term, but it's very, very harmful for long run, then Bodhisattvas advise, don't do that. Do that benefit the long run rather than short term. For short moment of time, we may have to challenge, we may have to sacrifice a little bit. That's why he said, how do you really inner peace in an everyday challenge? Everyday challenge, the challenge could be something that really huge, you can't really bear with it or not. I don't think there's any kind of challenge that's, unbearable. Probably maybe there, but we're very skillful. Maybe give some example. For example, we say that, we should love and care for all beings, right? All living beings, including animals. And then, love with them. But then if some predator or a tiger, let's say tiger, or someone who attack human being, someone who may kill us. If, for example, just take an example, okay? And the tiger, maybe if they like jumped from, for example, suppose, I'm giving this example, the window is opened, a tiger just jumped into. In that case, what do you have to do? You have to find a skillful way. You have to just wake up and run away and protect yourself instead of, oh no, the tiger is animal also. You need to be trying. You should be practice patience, compassion. No, that's foolish. That's a foolish compassion. That's why he said like a wisely selfish rather than foolish selfish, right? So you better just run away and just find somewhere you could protect yourself. So it looks like a kind of temporary solution in a way, but the long run, temporarily, you have to run and escape somewhere, and then give the second thought, how can I really chase this tiger away? And how can I, if I can do, or I need some other people help to remove this tiger from this room, and then chase this tiger from this room and take, I don't know, zoo or wherever, captive them, and that the tiger won't, attack for anyone. And then we are willing to fulfill the long run too. Like temporarily, you have to run. And then next, you make sure that you won't attack for any more in the future. And you have to find a solution. Same thing. So this action temporarily, for example, people who take drug, I don't know, but I used to have a really good friend who had some kind of, a few friends actually, who because of family, because of friend, because of the society's structure, they somehow indulge into taking drug and drinking kind of so much, and then just suffering themselves. And then somehow later they made really good friend, and then some of the tradition how to really stay clean from this using drug. Why are you taking to these are really very temporary. I think they temporarily they get some sort of sensual sort of pleasant or something. I don't know exactly. And very temporarily, maybe a few minutes or few hours, if you take this some of this, what do you call it? I don't know, there's many different kind of substance people or that. Yeah, this so they just get, what do you call it? Spoil. Sometimes spoil people, spoil children also engage this kind of thing, or I don't know, whatever that considers that. It's temporarily maybe give you some sort of you take this drug and you get high and you see some kind of mystery thing. I don't know, whatever things that are going on, right? And then after some time, it's really harmful your body, and then they start shaking their hand. If you don't really use that substance, you kind of stand and they start like chewing their finger, all sort of things they do. And it's really short, maybe like a temporarily, maybe they're thinking they may help, but in the long run, it's really harmful, right? So if something is really very harmful for the body or mind and your life and family, your neighbor, your country, then don't do it. This is the thinking here. So verse number 7, which is we say taking refuge. You take refuge into drink. Some people take refuge into alcohol. Some people take refuge into food. But yes, when you are hungry, you take refuge into food for sure, right? Because our body need to sustain, because it's a vessel, as you say. Our body is a vessel to use to achieve some long run, purpose for us. So because we have to really take care of our body for sure. There's no question with that. I think we have only left 4 minutes, and we cover up to verse number 7. Verse number 1 to 7 is like putting the foundation to do the real practice of the Bodhisattvas. And then the verse number 8 is there's some technical things are coming, but there's nothing you can't really say fix this is the right and that's just wrong. No, you could explore so many different ways, using our own intelligence, using our own mind, using our own skill, using our resources, and then try to learn, expand your compassion and loving caring. Doesn't matter, who have strong belief in religion, good, wonderful. And someone who do not really that kind of a belief in the religion, that's also good. And someone against the religion, that's also good. As a human being, you need to find some inner peace inner peace. And if you have the inner peace, external environment, more or less kind of, you can feel that there's some kind of vibration is there. It's kind of common knowledge rather than, someone give you. Maybe, of course, someone give you too, because the sharing, the communication, the interaction between, ourselves. So yeah, we will stop here, and thank you so much for coming, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity sharing what I think. I was sharing, it doesn't mean that's, true or not true. It's up to us to just make our own, use our own mind and do some investigation, critical thinking. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.